Hello, and thanks for joining me. It's yet again a beautiful day here in Northumberland, in the north of England. We just seem to be having such a fantastic summer. I have to say, it's not good for me. I'm not getting much done because I'm out riding my bike every day. Don't want to miss out on this glorious weather. As you can see, I'm on my Triumph Bonneville T140. And what I'm just reflecting on today, the topic for today's musing is motorcycle restoration. Not a lot of that going on at the moment because I'm out riding, but ultimately for me, this is what motorcycle ownership is about. It's about getting out and riding, so I am definitely not complaining. But anyway, the motorcycle restorer's quest. Just a little bit of whimsical philosophizing today. The anthropologist Joseph Campbell, you might be familiar with some of his writing, he suggested that all good stories are a variation on one basic plot, the hero's quest. And in his famous book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, he sets out this thesis with reference to hundreds of different stories from many different cultures around the world. But one story he did not include was that of the classic bike restorer. And so that's what I want to talk about today, because I think the activity of restoring a classic bike is closer to a heroic quest than it is to a simple hobby. The heroic restorer embarks on a quest that is all-consuming. Evenings are spent trawling forums and websites for useful information. Weekends are spent visiting auto jumbles and classic bike shows and parts suppliers. And there's a daily trawl of eBay for those much-needed parts. And on this quest, the hero bike restorer encounters dragons and monsters, as you do on all good heroic quests. In his case, the dragons and monsters are seized bolts and broken parts and parts that just won't fit together as they should do. And he must use his skill and his ingenuity to complete the various tasks along the journey and thereby progress to the next stage of the quest. So it could be fabricating parts or finding compatible parts off another model or even an entirely different type of bike. And of course, the hero restorer must face moral dilemmas. Do you restore it to original, or do you improve on the original? And in all of these good stories, heroic quests, there are certain stereotypical characters, and Campbell sets out some of these characters. And a lot of this is deeply rooted in a lot of psychologists. If you're familiar with Jungian psychology and archetypes as well, he talks about a lot of these. So some of these characters that we find in the quest of the motorcycle restorer. Firstly, there's the mentor. And that's the friend who has already made the journey and who you can always turn to for helpful advice. The sort of thing. What level of run out is acceptable on the crank and that kind of thing. Another stereotype character is the ally, and that's the friend who is always there to help out when a job needs two pairs of hands or two brains. Another of Campbell's stereotypical characters is the trickster. Now, there are usually several of these on the quest of the restorer. These are usually the so-called helpful people on forums who offer advice that ultimately proves to be wrong or even just downright, unhelpful. There's also the guardian, sometimes known as the gatekeeper, And that's the person who tries to discourage you from starting the quest. That's the classic role in the heroic quest. And so that's the kind of person who makes comments, you know, it's your friend who makes comments like, oh, it's an absolute wreck, you'll never get that thing running, you'll never be able to find the parts. Another very important character is the Shadow, as Young called it, or the Nemesis. And in Campbell's description, that the Shadow is the villain of the story. They exist there to create threats and conflict, and to give the hero something to struggle against. So Campbell suggests that the Shadow doesn't have to be a person, and I think in our case the bike itself can be the Shadow. That's the cause of conflict, of self-doubt, of pain and struggle. And of course, in all good stories, the hero returns home with the treasure, wins the hand of the princess. Is that, you know, win the prize for the best bike at the bike show, perhaps? And then of course they live happily ever after. So in the real world, it's that happily ever after bit that is a problem. And for the bike restorer, that beautifully restored bike is your pride and joy, and it's sitting there majestically in your garage. But what about that compulsive need to troll eBay every night for those elusive parts? You know, and what about the feeling of emptiness and pointlessness as you walk around Auto Jumbles with no list of things to buy? And what about the hours you spend sorting and cleaning your spanners because there's nothing needs doing on your bike? So, you know, that's when you start searching eBay for things like restoration project and barn find to start it all again. Anyway, just some of my thoughts on motorcycle restoration. I hope you found that entertaining. Please tell me whether you agree or disagree. Put some thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy these videos that I'm making, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done also already, and give the video a like. Thanks very much for watching. Please ride safely, and I hope I see you again soon. Bye.